I've always wanted to help people my entire life. I put myself in positions where it turned into what I now know as unsolicited advice. Most people aren't ready for the shift. They're not ready for help. They don't want to ask for help. So when you push your way in there, you're getting in the way of their free choice, and they might not like it. Some people do, and some people will take advantage of that. So over the years, I've worked many jobs. I really wanted to learn and experience everything until I figured out how I wanted to help people. I'm Holly, and I'm sharing a part of my journey to bring courage and inspire you on yours. And the first thing that I really knew that I wanted to do to help people was real estate. Why I chose real estate? My mom was a realtor. My dad got into real estate also for a while. And that's kind of how we see life in the beginning, right? As we see our parents and we become our parents. And I knew from about the time of being, maybe 16 or so, that I wanted to get into real estate eventually, because I love helping people. And I thought, what better way to help somebody than to find their home? Help them, like being a part of that experience to help them find their safe space. And so I started going to the yearly, it was like a Century 21 kickoff. So it was this huge function. It was a day long. It was huge. Like all of the Century 21s in Ontario were invited. We went to Toronto area, so there was a lot of people there. And it was basically a kickoff at the beginning of the year to help motivate you, because spring is one of the busiest times of year for real estate. And so I would go to the kickoffs from 17 years old with my mom. They invited me. I would go into the office with her when faxing was still a thing, and I would watch her and help her with some little paperworks and faxing, and she would teach me how to use a fax machine. And I would see what she did, because she worked her butt off. She was top producer a lot of the time. And I got to see how we were very fortunate financially. We did get to spend a lot of time together, although even when we went on a car ride, she would be on her phone a lot. And I was like, I'm going to throw that phone out the window, because I really wanted my mom to be there with us. And my dad said, that phone is the reason why your mother can be with us right now. That phone is the reason why we have what we have. And I saw her work her butt off, and we would get in trouble because we had the landline with the big long cord that was like 50 feet long, and she'd be in the kitchen and us kids would be playing around the cord. And not when I was 16, when I was like 10. And so we'd get in trouble for interrupting her. And so I knew that it was going to take a lot of work, though. I knew that I was going to have to be focused. Although I knew that it would provide me financially and with the time that I could spend with my family when I had my own family eventually. So from about 16, 17 years old, I knew that I was going to get into real estate. I also knew how much work it was going to be. So when I was my mom really pushed when I was about 19. She really wanted me to get into it. And I knew I wasn't ready, because I didn't want to half-ass. I don't half-ass anything in life. I never have. I've got tons of awards. I always got perfect attendance. I got top cadet when I went to Kingston Military College for Sea Cadets. They invited me to stay the rest of the summer if I wanted, and they paid you to go. I worked my butt off because I wanted to be the best version of me. I wasn't competing with anybody else. I always was competing with myself. And I wanted to know it all. I wanted to do it all. I wanted to be highly capable and do everything myself. I trained myself well. And so I was about 20 at the time. I lost both my grandparents within 4 months of each other when I was 19, 18 to 19. And that was a huge hiccup in all of our lives for a while, because they were a big reason of who I am today. And so I was about 20 and my mom was really, really pushing, and I was like, fine, I'll go and I'll do the first course, but I'm not going to pass. I'm telling you right now, I'm not ready. And so I went and I did the first course and I failed by 1%. And I said to her, I said, see, I'm not ready. I knew that if I got in right then, I would fail. I was still selling things I shouldn't be selling. I was still partying all the time. I was in this lifestyle where I was having a great time and I was enjoying myself and I was meeting people and I was doing things and traveling, and I was not ready. And then I was 29 and I did my first real estate course. I was like, okay, I'm ready. But I'm not ready to go all in yet. There was 3 courses that you needed to do, and then you could get your license. So I did my first course, and then I would move out west. And I'd spend 6 months out west hanging out, exploring and working and partying. And I'd go back to Ontario, and I'd do another course. And then I found another cool job, and I went out and I lived there for about 5 to 6 months. Went back, did my last course. Now I can get my license. So you're given about 1 year after getting your last course to get your license. And I moved down south. And I was living in a camper, in a trailer, it was a really, really nice park. And it was on the lake, on the bluffs, fireflies, thunderstorms, swimming. Like it was amazing. And that's when I met my son's father, because I went down to open a restaurant, help people open a restaurant. That was a shit show. Like, it was a disaster. I don't know how they survived. They were yelling at their staff in front of the customers out in the restaurant. Food was taking over 2 hours. Like, it was bad management. So I left, and I had a job offer shortly after that, and I went and did siding on, like, vinyl siding installation in a new home construction site. That's when I met my son's father. We knew each other about 6 months and then started to speak about having a family, and he told me he was separated, and all the lies started and the whole script. And then so I moved back up to where I was going to be doing my courses, and he was supposed to move back up with me. And then I got pregnant, and then he told me he's not moving up. And that's when I was like, well, I'm not staying with you just because I'm having your kid. Because I told you where my life's going to be, and you told me that you can adapt to that. And then you totally, anyways, you guys might have seen the videos already about that. And then, so I was 5 months pregnant when I got my real estate license and I got into real estate. 5 months pregnant. I was the happiest pregnant woman you'd ever meet. He was still coming up to visit, because I wasn't telling him to go away. I wanted him to be a part of the family still. So he would come up and have lunch, and we'd still hang out. And so I would go to every meeting I could. I would go to every seminar I could. I wanted to really, I was ready. Like, when I tell you, it took me, okay, so I was 31. I was turning 32 when I got my real estate license. It took me 15 years of knowing what I wanted to do before I did it, because I wanted to be all in. And I wanted to live out some of my younger years partying. I had a great time. And so I got my real estate license, going to all the seminars and the meetings and everything. And I wanted to do door knocking. And I was like, I almost talked myself out of it. I pulled up. It was a sunny day, bright blue skies. I was ready. I had information and I had done so much studying before I knew what I was going to do. And I almost talked myself out of it. I said, oh, I got these things to do. Maybe I'll just come back another day. And all I said to myself was, I said, what's the worst thing that can happen? Someone slams the door in your face? What? Like, you'll never see them again. Who cares? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I got out and I went up to the first door and they slammed it in my face. The first door was slammed in my face. I said, well, nothing bad, nothing worse than that can happen. So I kept going and I went all around the neighborhood and I met these people who stayed in contact with me. And I went and I did a listing presentation with them. And I studied. I really wanted to know how to connect with people on a deeper level so that they felt heard. 11:11. And these people stayed with me until I lost my license. And when I was 18, I started to gut properties with my dad. So we did full gut jobs and we rebuilt the whole structure. Not the whole structure, the whole internal, like the guts. So we do a full gut job and we renovated it from the hole in the ground. So plumbing, electrical, like structural beam, ceramic tile, drywall, everything. I did all of that with my dad. And so because I had that experience, I could now go through and do like pre-home inspections with listing presentations and buyers. So I had talked clients out of purchasing certain properties because I would point these things out and I would explain to them, like, you got to make sure that this is an investment you really want to be in. Because some people just saw it as, I want a house. I'm like, well, like if the listing has not gone through and done things to take your eye away from it, then you're going to get caught. So going through with a buyer, I could point out to them all the things that they would need to do. And some things are minor, some things are structural. And there was a home inspector that went in, didn't even see that the beams underneath the house were rotten, so clearly didn't even go into the basement. It was a house that was just sitting on the ground. So he didn't even go underneath into the crawl space to see that the beams were rotten. My buyer saw it before he purchased, so he got a really good deal because he was okay with the work. So he ended up redoing it all. That was when I knew how successful I can be when I truly wanted to connect with people. I truly had compassion for them. I knew that it was huge investments. I knew that emotionally people get attached to their homes. So when they sell, they want to make sure it's going to somebody that's going to enjoy it as much as they did. And I loved my line of work. And then the first property that I bought in 2017, ironically, the people I bought it from, which they held a mortgage, the bank held the first mortgage, the owners held the second mortgage, so I didn't even have to pay much money, just closing fees, $6,000. I paid to buy my first property. The owner of that property, her sister was the one who complained and got my real estate license taken away. Defamation of character and false claims against who I am. Yet the family knew me really well, and I had paid them all the time, and then I paid them off just over a year later. And yet, this is where the Real Estate Council of Ontario fails, because they don't do their due diligence prior to making these false claims and siding with violence against realtors. They don't even look where they're getting their information from. Someone who has nothing to do with anything. And then, when my real estate license was taken away from me, I really got to sit with myself. I really got to see who I wanted to be. Because I wanted to be a realtor based off of what I saw my parents as. And then I really got to see who I was, how people treated me, how I gained the trust of people. Because in this life, when you're a strong and independent woman and you're attractive, like especially when I dress up, there are a lot of women who are jealous and envious of you, especially because I get along well with men. I was a tomboy. I connect very easily with men. And some men who have uncleansed minds have unclean thoughts about me. And so gaining the trust of the wife was how I got a lot of sales, because I made the women comfortable. And those women were not jealous and envious. Those women had just been hurt prior, either by other realtors or taken advantage of in other ways. So when I make them feel comfortable, the man gets to also help choose me because the wife chose me. And so I got to see what people really need. And that's when I decided to become a transformational guide, a life coach, an energy healer. I'm a natural healer. So it only made sense to go the route of really helping people in their deepest and darkest moments with a compassionate ear, and someone who's been in the gutter and dug themselves up out of the trench and needing some extra guidance. Someone who's been to the same area that they've been to. So then I became certified. Because you see tons of people out there right now becoming life coaches. Some of them certified, some of them not. I went to a counselor, a drug addictions counselor, when I was like probably about 20 or 21. And I was speaking to her. And then like the next week I'm at the bar and she's up table dancing, wasted off her face. And I'm like, I'm speaking to you about my addictions, and then here you are. You wouldn't be doing that if you were healed. If you've gotten through your traumas. Yeah, going out for a drink, whatever, dancing, that's cool. Table dancing, wasted. You're working for the city. So I've experienced it. I've lived it. I've healed. I've never wished any evil on any of my enemies. I know that karma hits, and karma is not supposed to be a punishment. Karma is supposed to be an opportunity to learn. It brings you lessons. And you get to choose whether you still maintain your toxic patterning or you choose to heal out of it. And yeah, it's painful either way, no matter what you choose. It's going to get worse until you learn the lesson. So I became certified coach, certified trauma-informed coach. And I focus on transformational shifting. I see myself as a transformational guide. Life coach is one thing. I fully overcome adversity. And my perspective that I bring to people, I see not many people with the type of perspective I have. There is a lot of emotional attaching to conflict around us. And you need to learn the art of detachment. And you need to learn how to set your healthy boundaries and use your voice. And my dad told my mom years ago that he was afraid of me. And I now know what he meant. Because everybody in my growing up tried to shut me up. They tried to make me not feel. They didn't want me to feel because I'm connected. So they attempted to dim my light the best they could. Tell me that I wasn't supposed to feel what I felt. I would stop crying. It's pretty great when you can leave everything behind that no longer serves you, when you've learned those lessons and you step into your authenticity. And that's what I'm here for. And I hope that my words can connect you with parts of you that you have either been afraid of or unsure of. Because in our darkest spaces, we can turn our Achilles heels into our strengths. Like my heart, I've cared, some people say too much. And my Achilles heel is my strength as well as my weakness. And I learned how to control that. And now I can witness others in the space they're in and have no emotional attachment to that. Because I know that we all have our lessons and we all choose our life. And so, as a transformational guide, I bring this perspective while being compassionate to your circumstance. I will never enable you to continue being toxic to yourself. I will never enable you for that. I'm a no bullshit type of person. And I call you out when you're being shitty. Bliss to each and every one of you.